Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to talk about chord inversions, if you can read that on the board behind me with the smiley face. And I figured this was a good topic to talk about a little bit and give you a video about not just how to invert chords but how to transcribe them for the piano, because I get asked, not often but once in a while, how do I do it and how do I learn songs by ear? Which I should start this video by also saying that it's just one way to learn songs. I really recommend that if you can't read sheet music, or if you're still early on in reading piano sheet music, that you work on that, because that's also a great way to learn songs and very valuable, and I do that too. But in order to sort of get you songs really quick and make a quick turnaround in sort of the process, I usually just use my ears, and I've had a lot of practice doing that over the years, so that's the method I use a lot. However, sometimes it can be quicker for me to get the sheet music and learn it that way. So I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough about how to invert chords and how to transcribe basically from a recording. And it requires ear training and practice, so if it doesn't come naturally to you, that's okay and completely normal. It doesn't happen automatically for most people. And you should start with a song that is on the easier side, so not too many chords in it, not too many licks. That way it's fairly easy, relatively speaking, to break it down and see if you can do it, basically. So I'm going to do something I don't do often, and we're just going totally unedited, and I'm going to do this live for you. So I'm going to put this in my camera holder here above the keyboard, just like what you normally see in the videos, and give that a little adjustment. And there we go. It's a little bit. So we're going to use the song Love Me Like I Am for King and Country from a video that I did recently, which starts like this. Okay, so right there is our first four chords. We have a B major, F sharp minor 7, and then A, I'm adding 2, and then an E major. So first thing, you want to make sure you have the right chord names for the song you want to learn, and use websites that are reliable and have a track record of being reliable, because many websites will actually have the wrong chords for the song that you're trying to learn. So let's just assume that you went to a good website and you got the right chords for the song, and you know that the first chord is a B. So this would be a B major chord in just root position with B on the bottom. So to invert chords, now just because we know it's a B chord for the song doesn't mean it's the chord we want as the first chord, right? That one. So first of all, you need to know how to invert chords on the piano. So let's just say that you know how to build a regular B major chord in root position. Well, the way that we invert it down is we could take the high note, which is this F sharp, and just move it down one octave, and then adjust our fingers. Now we have the next inversion of a B chord down 1. Root position, and then this is actually second inversion is what it's called. And then maybe we're not sure if that's the right one, so let's invert down again. So let's take our top note again, bring it down an octave, and adjust, and now that's a B chord in first inversion. And notice if we do that again, if we take down the top note, down an octave, we're back to root. So now we've gone through all three different inversions of a B major chord. Root position, first inversion, and second inversion, and actually one more, which is back to root. And that's just... So now we know how to build every B major chord on the piano. And we could just keep going up or down the whole piano, right? There's only those three inversions of a B chord. So now that you've gone through that and you know how to invert a chord on the piano, now we just need to figure out which one is it on the recording. So obviously we listen to the recording. Go back a little. And we're going to listen to that first chord. Does it sound like that one? Does it sound like this one? And this is going to be the first inversion we use. What you're listening for a lot of times is that high note, because the high note of a chord is the one that's going to stick out the most, the highest pitch. So we're listening for that high note. We have the D sharp of the B chord, and then our F sharp minor 7, which same process, if we're inverting an F sharp minor 7 chord, even though it's a 4-note chord, same thing. We could take the high note and move it down an octave, and then that gives us an inverted F sharp minor 7 chord, and we could go down again if we wanted to. Same process for inverting chords. So let's just take those first two chords of the song, B major to F sharp minor 7, and that's one of the things I'm listening for when I listen to the recording, is the top note. Okay, I figured out that first one. I can hear the D sharp on top of the B chord. Where is it moving to? Oh, I can hear that movement going up, so therefore, if I can hear that, then that gives me a clue on what inversion of the F sharp minor 7 chord is going to be. And then for the next two chords, if we went farther, I would just be listening for, notice that that top note is staying on an E. That's what I'm hearing when I listen to the recording. So A chord and then E major. And in this song, you can easily get away with just regular A major, or I like to add the 2 into the mix because it just makes it a little bit thicker. But you can play with it on this song, and like I said, either way works. So what we're listening for is the tonality, the brightness or darkness of each chord. If it's a B major chord and we have that major third on top, it's going to make the chord sound brighter. Whereas if we invert down and say we're listening to this B major chord, well, this is the root on top, so it doesn't necessarily have a major or minor sound. It just sounds like the 1 of the chord, 1, 3, 5, or 1, 3, 5 of the chord. So it just has maybe a little bit darker sound than this one, where the 3 is on top, it sounds brighter. So those are the kinds of things we're listening for. And then, of course, if you have any separate licks, like, then you want to figure out those notes individually. So, like from the beginning, we have one of those licks. And so there's no chord that we have to worry about at that exact moment, just the lick. And so you just figure out each of those notes at a time. You can slow down the recordings on YouTube, and that is a method you should definitely use if you're having trouble figuring out, picking out what those notes are. And then, obviously, when you get a measure or a couple measures of it put together, then you can test it out and keep comparing back and forth with the recording and see if it matches up with what you're hearing. And that's pretty much the process. Now I know I'm probably making it sound easy and going through it quickly, but you just have to also keep in mind that a lot of things are going to be repetitive throughout the song. So you could spend 10, 20, 30 minutes on just 2, 3, 4 of the chords. And that seems crazy, right? Because the song is 3, 4 minutes long. But you have to keep in mind that it's going to be very repetitive most time. If it's a pop song, doesn't matter if it's Christian pop or secular pop, whatever popular kind of music it is, it's going to be pretty repetitive most of the time. So if you spend a lot of time and you get the right chord inversions for the very beginning of the song, or let's just say for the verse, and then you figure out the chorus, chances are it's going to be pretty repetitive for the rest of the song. So you're not going to have to spend all that time on the rest of the song. Maybe just some different licks you'll have to figure out, but that's sort of the light at the end of the tunnel. That's why it's worth spending that time on just a few chords, or one chord at a time, and one lick at a time, just because it will pay off later as you're working out the rest of the song. So I hope that was helpful for some of you. Please leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions so I can give you some specific recommendations or tips on how you can work on this skill. And so until next time, we'll see you soon.